Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
As usual, the application name is going to be Elder. Let it open. The application name will be Elder. They will provide some identity. You have to get the identity from the drop-down. Then what will be the application time, which is connecting, it's connected. We have to select the connector. LDAP is the connector. Since it's a direct application, the moment you select the connector, the remaining tabs will appear. For a moment, I'll restart the services because it's not responding. I'll restart application service, which means Apache. Then if they provide any description, revoker. If it is HR application, you have to enable this. Here, they will provide the credentials. As I said always, you prefer system account, not user account. Then you have to mention the post name. Again, this information will be provided by the application. And port number, everything. Test connection is successful, which means SailPoint can communicate with LDAP application and it can aggregate the data. From where the data can be aggregated, you have to mention the DNN value also. From where the data needs to be aggregated, everything. Again, for this application also, we have to define the correlation. Chandran, are you saying something or? One thing I wanted to show in the configuration page, configuration tab. I could see that the port is one port is we are able to sell. But authentication type is port is 3389 and authentication type is simple. Correct. But in many systems, we need the SSL communication for something like, for example, if we think about the AD creation can be done on the 389 port. But let's say we want to the O movement and it needs the 6036 port. I would like to clarify one thing here. This is not our application. Whether it's LDAP or Active Directory, it's not our application, right? Whatever port number, whatever they are supposed to provide, they have to fill it over here. That's it. We cannot decide. Let's say that a few activity you can do over the 389, but few activity you have to use the 636 port. Then how we can define such things? I think 389 and 636 both are default port, right? But in real time, we won't use default port. The port number will be different if I'm not wrong. Got But let's say it means I've seen the many companies use the default port also. Then in that scenario, we can onboard two applications. LDAP. You can onboard one more application with different port number. Get? But then how process will work? Because like I just said, that creation can be done on the 389 port. OU movement can be done only on the 636 port. I said very clearly, right? Oh, we are not responsible for O movement. You are trying to talk about OU management, right? User movement in the different OU, not OU movement. User movement. Got it. Got it. Just a minute. You are asking if user account is going to be created in different OU organization unit. How it can be defined? Let's say we have an organization unit called ABC. For some type of account, user account needs to be created on a container. Even BO. COU different OU. You are asking right. And it is getting done over the 636 port only. It is not allowed on the 389 port. The application rule. Application. We are talking about architecture. The line number 288 to 292, it clearly indicates upon needs of the application. It is going to be created from this OU. CNN equal to user DC equal Google DC equal lab. When account is going to be created, that CNAME value is going to be captured from ITT get first name, identity get last name. For every user, we have to define where the account is going to be created. Basically, it's a DNAM value, right? Distinguished name of the user. Then, where it's going to be get created. My question is different. Maybe it is not applicable to SailPoint. I think now I am working on one tool. That is the IDM tool. They have the different process for the create user, different process for the means they have pass, basically that create user and modify user. Moving user to another O. In the create user, when we enter the port 389, it is working properly. But when we enter the same port 389 to move the user from one OU to another OU process, it's not working. Then AD team told us that whenever you want to move the user from one U to another OU, you should use the 636 port. It means for the same system we are doing two processes. One is creation of the user account and movement of the user from one OU to another OU. One is happening on the 389 port and another is happening for the 6036 port. In my IDM system, we have two options. We have the separate process. I can maintain the different port. But here it seems like a common port we need to maintain. That is, I felt like it is a challenge here. We have to use common port number 389 and most of the time we are not responsible to move user from one OU to another OU. You are referring to this. Let's say that any second part created in one OU, right? It seems to be moved. And SailPoint won't do this actively. Chandan, I am loud to you. Because of the 6036 port went on the AD team, that port has been enabled or not enabled. It is a self-conclusion. It is 3A9. Yes, correct. That's true. If you enable the 630 port on the AD site, you can use the 6036 port on our application, the CLP. Communication will happen. But the reason is that port is not available. Ports should be enabled and SSL should be enabled on the domain controller of the AD. After that, it will be worked. And moreover big, then the 636 port does all the activity. You mean Sukhmate, right? But requirement is that by default, 389 port with default port of the AD, it is open. If you would like to 6036 port, you will have to configure the certificate in the AD's domain controller. After that, 36 port is enabled. Same port will be configured in the SailPoint Azure. That will be work. Sure. I would like to clarify one more thing. In SailPoint, we won't be able to move any account from one OU to another OU. I'm 100% sure on that. Once account got created, it can be modified. Commission groups can be added. It can be removed. But we won't be able to move. But it is all. I will send in one mentor. Rakesh is saying good. SailPoint is, I think, not working. It is dependent on the provisioning plan. Just last time he showed the provisioning plan. We will have to give the OU path in the provisioning plan according to the department and identify the user. But it will automatically move in the Dominican target application. Everything depends on the provisioning plan and workflow. I think more clear. For creating user, you can decide the user account where, under which organization, unit, which OU the account needs to be created. Once it's created, we cannot move from SailPoint. You have to get in touch with AD team directly to move the account from one OU to another OU. Let's take an example. We have a system account. Go ahead. The system account is created by SailPoint. But if you want to move from one OU to another, maybe the system account got created under system OU. Right. Now you want to move from system OU to NTDS quota. I would agree with saying you cannot move from SailPoint. Oh my. Either you have to delete the account, then you have to move. Because I never seen accounts move from one OU to another OU. It's an AD team activity. We are not supposed to do that. And we can't do that as well. Understood. Because of that reason, we will have only one. What do we call that port number? If you are going to onboard this application, Active Directory application also, you are allowed to have only one port number. But you are allowed to have multiple domains. You can add multiple domains. That's a different scenario. You are allowed. You guys are clear how to onboard in the application. Similarly, the same process. You can onboard any other application. Let's say now you want to onboard ServiceNow application. ServiceNow is a SaaS application, right? Either you can directly write SaaS application. One more thing. Now I try to select ServiceNow connector. The moment I selected two applications from the different tab, it may get confused sometime. And it will be interrupted. I would recommend whenever you are onboarding any application, try to open only one tab. Let me refresh. I'll onboard fresh. This time I'm going to onboard ServiceNow application. Anyway, I don't have this application. Let me repeat again and again. For every application you are supposed to depend. Correlation 100%. But password policy and rules, it depends on the requirement. And let's say the other application we have Open LDAP. LDAP, Open LDAP, everything is similar, right? We have a direct connector for that also. Open. Then go to configuration. When it comes to Open LDAP again, you are allowed to have only one port number. Here we can have the username. Then password. Then host number, host name, RIP address, anything. Then port number. Port number is going to be 318 and that's the default port. But in real time, the port number may be different now. These information will be provided by the application team. Then you have to make from where the data user account needs to be aggregated. Then from where the group needs to be aggregated. Then hinted at this connection. Oh, still it's a referring service. Now URL. That is the reason I said we are not supposed to open multiple tabs when you are working with SailPoint. Let me refresh. If SailPoint is able to communicate with the target application, then SailPoint can aggregate the data. SailPoint can perform provisioning operation also. This is how we are supposed to onboard any type of application. That's it, guys. That's all about application onboarding. If you have any question, we can discuss now. Rakesh, this AD will support both aggregation and provisioning, right? Correct. Now that we have onboarded an AD application, I'm going there in the HR application and then I'm inserting a new record basically, and then I'm aggregating to SailPoint. What will happen to the identity? The AD account will be automatically provisioned. Or if you insert SailPoint to create an account, obviously SailPoint will create a code in AD application and all other application as well. But application has to be a conforming or connected application, right? I hope you guys understood the difference between conforming, non-conforming application. Again, it depends on the connector. If the connector has the capability to perform both operation, aggregation and provisioning, then it's a conforming application. And SailPoint can create a code automatically without any manual intervention only for conforming application. Got? But then how SailPoint is detecting that in AD the provisioning is switched on, Rakesh? That's part of joiner event, or I would say that's part of birth rate provisioning. Exactly. That's what I'm asking. We have to define and we have a separate chapter for that. We can talk about that. We have to write a workflow. In the workflow, we have to instruct very clearly. If user is a new joiner, then Active Directory or phone along with it. All other business application access needs to be created, something like that. Got perfect. That is. Go ahead. We got to know that we got on board any application as aggregator. And we can also load the file from some Excel sheet or something. But this has any user interface also through which this can be used as an asset. There could be contractor or external user that need to be onboarded. Is there any user interface there where we can enter data that directly to onboard the user? You are asking, we can load the data from the HR application, right? No, I'm saying that HR application is generally used for the employee creation. Employee data we can load from the HR application. That could be Workday or any other system. But let's say we have some external user, a contractor, joint ventures, other type of. Do we have any user interface or something from where we can enter the user data and then a user will get created in the SailPoint system? In SailPoint, we have an option to create identity directly, but we are not supposed to do that. Is my screen visible? Usually from SailPoint, we won't create any identity directly unless it's a system account or non-human account. All type of users should come from HR application only. But I understood your point. But many organizations have this policy that they don't want to create the external user or contacted user in the HR system. In this case, how SailPoint will handle how to create such account. Then for contractor also. They will used to have some other application. Obviously, the data will be aggregate from HR application only. We cannot create identity manually. Let me show you this diagram because I have mentioned it's not necessary. All this we will have only one HR application. There are scenarios where we can have multiple HR application also. From one application, employee will be on board. At another application, contractors can be on board. Something like that. Give me a minute. Here I mentioned right SF contract. Let's say you have a contractor. Then those users will be part of one HR application. The application name and type could be anything from that application. Also, the data needs to be aggregated into SailPoint. Is that clear? As per your requirement, let's say all employee information will be uploaded in the Workday application, HR application directly. But contractors, other type of users, they should have one application directly because we cannot onboard any user directly in SailPoint. The data should come from HR application. Got it, Sanden? And second thing, let's say if it is a non-human system account, it can be created manually from SailPoint. This is what I have noted in real time. And when we create the system account, what are the scenarios? Can you highlight? What are the scenarios means? When we create this system account directly in the SailPoint. In the real time, it's an identity which belongs to system. Non-human. We can mention the username, password, first name, last name. Here we will mention system account or service account, whatever it could be, or test user, something that identity can be created. Once identity got created, it will look like this as usual identity. Maybe here we will have a user type, whether it belongs to user or system, something like that. That's it. Here we have employee contractor, right? Similarly, we can have it's a human account or non-human account. You can mention user type human account, non-human account, something like that. Identity can be created and all the application access, other business application access can be given. Is that clear? Send them. Do you want me to create one system account? Identity, sorry. Can somebody confirm I'm audible? I think we lost him. Shandan, are you there? That's all about application onboarding. We are left out with loopback connector. Anyway, in the upcoming chapter we can talk about that. Now we are going to talk about entitlement. Can any one of you explain what is entitlement? What is entitlement? Permission frequency. Entitlement is a permission and which is available, which is existing in the target application. And already we discussed, right, what is entitlement and all. Every application will have their own entitlement. If these entitlement is available in SailPoint that other users, other identity can log in into SailPoint, they can submit requests to get the target application access by selecting these entitlements. We have to ensure whenever we are going to onboard any application, we have to aggregate. We are usually will aggregate user account. Similarly, we have to aggregate entitlement as well. And let me clarify one more thing. Entitlement is a SailPoint term. It's not a global term. Every application will have their own terminology, own phrases. They may call it as entitlement. They may call it as capability or access rights, permission or group. It's up to them. But I would say group is the global phrase. Now these entitlement also should be aggregate whenever you are going to onboard an application. I'll take control. I hope you have. Can you open my SQL workbench? Go. When we interact with track application and data, I mean Prism application, you know far we aggregate user accounts, but traditionally we have to aggregate entitlement as well. For track application, they have 4 entitlements in the capability table. Input, super, approve, reject. These are the 4 entitlements. These entitlements should be aggregated into SailPoint. It should be available in SailPoint that all other users can request according to their requirements. Since we already onboarded this track application, we are not going to create a new one. Just we will open the existing application. Go to configuration. We have an object that's called account. This object type is responsible to aggregate user account. Now we are going to add a new object type called group. You can call it as group entitlement, anything. Just add a new object type. This object type is responsible to aggregate entitlement from this application track. Application from capability table. As usual, we have to type the username password. The username will be root password. Can you type the MySQL server password? This is the database from object, type of account. From here you can get it. Just go. This is the database. Scroll down. Here you have to type. Stimulant, you have to get the database and type it all. In real time, this information will be provided by the application team. No need to worry about that. Then we have to install point from where that entitlement needs to be aggregated. The entitlement needs to be aggregated from here. That's it. As usual, we have to add the object type also, right? Here also we are having object type group. Can somebody ask what should we do next? Give the identity attribute and this for the schema, I think. But before that we have to declare all the attributes right. When we check target application, we have 3 columns. For them, it's column for a section attribute. ID capability description. Correct. Now we have to click on the Discover Schema Attribute button that all these columns can be checked. And we know which attribute we can consider as a unique for entitlement. Which attribute is it going to be ID or capability or description? Which attributes we can consider? ID. But in this now ID, it belongs to users, right? And we are dealing with entitlement. It should be capability. Capability the attribute. If you are going to aggregate users, then object ID you can consider as a unique attribute. Now we are aggregating entitlement right. If it makes sense. Yes, that is. Now we will declare capability as a unique attribute. But in this object, entitlement object, it's done. Now click on Preview button. You're able to access the data. It's very good. Now go ahead and now we have to check that. If that. Why it's throwing error? Let's see. I'm not going to add one more point here. You know these groups will be assigned to accounts only, right? Which means this entitlement, this capability will be assigned to users only at the end. In the account object map account, we are going to add a new attribute also. The attribute name, you can call it as capability group, anything up to you in your local machine. Then the object type is going to be group. Basically, it's an entitlement attribute. You can declare this attribute entitlement and it's managed with SailPoint. See, that's it. And now any other. And Rakesh, it can be multi-valued also, right? Yes, exactly. It can be multi-value also that you need to confirm in the application team. Which means one user can have multiple entitlements. Now we are dealing with group aggregation. We have to select upon group aggregation. I'm going to track group aggregation. You have to select the track application out of these many entries. Unique entitlement will be aggregated to say 1. Go ahead and it's running out of 300 entries. Only 4 entitlement has been created. Go to Application Entitlement Catalog. Here you could see 4 entitlements are there. Approve input, reject capability. These are the entitlement from track application. And now it's requestable also. Is that clear? Rakesh. But let's say one of the system we have connected that has 1 lakh entitlements. And then on the name is a daily basis or maybe monthly basis. They're creating 5, 10 more. How we can sync them? If we are running the job again and again, then it will put extra load on the system, right? Correct. Then you can enable delta aggregation. But anyhow, on a daily basis, the data needs to be synced. Whether it's user account or groups, it needs to be synced. Got it? Yes, that's true. I hope you guys understood how to aggregate entitlement using this import and export button. We can perform bulk modification. Let's say now I want to update owner field owner information for all 4 entitlements. I can import all the entitlements from one application, specific application. I can modify, I can update the owner name. Then I can re-import. Now owner name is going to be unexported. Let's do it. For all 4 entitlements, owner name will be unexported. And out of these 4 entitlements, input should be non-requestable. I am going to make it as false. What does it in non-requestable? User cannot request these entitlement data. That's what it means. Now I'm going to import the file which we modified without renaming the file name. You are not supposed to rename the file name. That's it. Now you could see input entitlement is non-requestable, which means user cannot request. You can see input and owner has been updated. Owner has been updated for track application. For track entitlement, that's all about entitlement. But if you want to manage from debug page, just navigate to debug page. You cannot search with entitlement. You have to search with managed attribute. That's another terminology. Managed database and entitlement, both are same. Your requestable is true, false, or who is the owner, when it got created, when it got modified, from which application, what is the entitlement, name and value, everything. If you want to access entitlement from debug page, you have to search with managed database. Rex one thing, I have jumped in the owner field. You put any name and it accepted. Isn't it wrong? Basically that, because it's not valid. Actually, the identity name you are supposed to update only identity. I'm audible now. You are supposed to update username of the identity. You cannot update blindly. I updated Alice, for I know Alice, for is the username for one of the users. Update. If there is a typo, then it will not take right. It won't take. It won't update. That's a good chance. That you guys are clear how to aggregate entitlement, then how to aggregate them into SailPoint, how to modify from debug page, and all how to perform bulk changes. Then let's say now users are supposed to request for these entitlements, and obviously you should enable LCMM module. As of now, LCMM module is not configured here. You could see Lifecycle Manager is not there. Guys, if you are facing audio issue, let me know. I'll join from other device. Not again, sorry. As of now, LCMM module is not configured. First, I'll do one thing. Let's configure LCM module. Go to C drive. Then Application Server. Launch command prompt. Can you open launch command prompt, Rajesh? Using the Let's type IQ console. Now we will import the LCMM module. But you need iPhone LCM text ML. Candidate is looking for rack application permission entitlement and only 3 entitlements are requestable out of 4. Approve rich super. Now you can select the entitlement and you can submit. I hope you guys are clear. Any question? If you guys don't have any question, then I have one. Can we create entitlement from SailPoint? Yes, we should be. But as you know, entitlement is a target application property, right? It should be created and managed by them only. But maybe some internal access inside the SailPoint need to be given to the user. Then entitlement is available. Then obviously SailPoint will help all the user to request, right? Because requesting entitlement is something different. Creating entitlement something different, right? Yes, SailPoint will create the entitlements in the target first and then make them. No. As I say, let me repeat once again, entitlement will be created whenever they are going to build the product. Obviously, they will take care of the entitlement creation part also as part of application building process. They will build entitlement also in each and every application. But just we will aggregate into SailPoint that user can request, right? Every application will have their own set of permission, correct? But due to some unfortunate situation, let's say if they ask us to create entitlement from SailPoint, we can create also again it. It's part of provisioning. Only let me show you that. Or you can stop sharing your screen tradition. Now I'm going to aggregate groups. Basically entitlement. Basically this is what the entitlement for an application, right? Now no need to define one more object that called a phone because already it will be there because it's a predefined attribute. A predefined attribute, predefined object. Just save this application. But before that you have to instruct from where the entitlement group needs to be agreed. And we already done it same. Now I'm going to aggregate entitlement from active directory application. Let me check. I don't have any new task. Let me create a new one. Active directory include aggregation and application name is going to be active directory, and we'll see how many groups entitlement will be aggregated into same one at groups. And now we could see 30 groups has been created out of 31. Go to application entitlement catalog and select active directory application, and here you can find all 30 entitlements, 34 entitlements. Got it? And by default they are requestable. Rakesh, yes, by default it's requestable. If you want to make any changes, then obviously we can write some rules. Let's say if every entitlement is having owner, then only it should be requestable or else it should be non-requestable. Something like you can define body via creation rule. No, that you can define under group refresh tools refresh group. Here we are having group aggregation refresh rule. We can use this. Got it. Then you guys are clear. Right? How to aggregate entitlement from active directory application. Now let's say we have a requirement where we need to create entitlement for active directory application. Now the entitlement name is going to be I will define. If you want to create entitlement, just go to entitlement catalog, click on add new entitlement. You can select the application name from here. We want to create entitlement for Active Directory application, and what will be the entitlement name? Maybe can create read access for lay hunt on particular or maybe system or something. I need it. This is going to be a natural name. While creating it, we can be different whether it's going to be requestable or not. We can have the description go to object properties. Here we have to define, that's very important, SAM upon in. It is going to be unique, we can define. Then, whether it's going to be security group or it's a distribution list, we can define it from here. Or is it going to be created under domain local or universal group? You can define and description. This is where it's very important. You have to define the group DIN under which this group needs to be created. For a stamp, I'm going to get some samples DIN value from an application somewhere. It would be there, scene equal. This is going to be sample 1. The entitlement needs to be created under users O under this domain controller, and the entitlement name should be read access for L1 team system O. That's it. Click save. The entitlement will be created. That means Rakesh group will be created in the ad. I'm right. Rakesh group will be created in the ad. Is one system correct? If it is a conforming application, SailPoint can create entitlement for any type of application. Here you could see workflow has been announced to create the entitlement. Go to task results. Here you could see some management. Update upon group. It will try to create. Now go to the target application and check whether entitlement has been created or not. Oh, let me check. Maybe it requires some approval to create this entitlement. The approval is pending with Amanda Rose. Let me complete this approval item. Approval is required to create this entitlement, right? Who is the owner? Amanda Rose. Let's say Amanda is not available. I'm going to delegate this approval work item to SPI admin that I can provide approval as a SPI admin. See application. Everything is there. I'm going to approve now. Approval is done. Now go ahead and workflow status. Oh, it's throwing an error. X service must be configured. I think Rajesh, now you understood right. We require X service also in Active Directory application. We did complete it. Because of that reason, we got this error. I'll do one thing. Let me try to peel for an application that I have been. Add new entitlement. Application name will be add. The entitlement display value will be there. It should be requestable description. You can select SPI admin as a owner. SAM account name. Now again we have to get to scene value. Sorry, den value of the entire, for example. That's it. This is going to be the Dean distinguished name value of the that you click save again. Workflow will be launched and it will create entitlement in the target and error written from IQ services failed to connect server. Then I think somebody messed up with my application. It's not working. I'll do one thing. I'll recreate the same scenario tomorrow. Maybe there are scenarios. Today we have opened with multiple tabs. Write one application. We were working on a tab. Other application. I have open Active Directory application. I suspect it got modified inside. No, it's not modified. Why look at the error message? There is the additional double quotes at the end D, C equal to lab. Yes, that's true. Thank you. SailPoint is not able to find this domain. It's a possible reason. Domain controller is currently not reachable. Our object has been either moved or renamed. This domain is not available. And now let's give a time. 1 second name wherever your application is count. Beijing election today on masters and today on another headset. How does the users have created? Let's start to this initiative. I think by the time now should. Workflow has been launched once again. Now we'll check the workflow's data. It doesn't require any approval because requester and approver both are same person. Now we can go to the target application and we can check here we could see group has been created. RAID access for L1. The group has been created. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.